محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللهم صل على محمد. If I can please ask everyone to take their seats as soon as possible so we can start the program promptly. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مؤمنين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you all for coming to the Khoja Heritage Day to celebrate and to remember our history and to reflect on where we are heading as a people. And I'm KSIMC of London, the MC for today's program. હું કોશિશ કરીશ કે જે ગુજરાતીમાં બોલી શકીશ ગુજરાતીમાં બોલીશ. પણ પ્લીઝ માફ કરજો કેમ કે મારો ગુજરાતી બહુ સારો નથી. જે રીતના મારા એલ્ડર છે આજકાલના બચ્ચાને ગુજરાતી નથી સમજ પડતી, હું આજકાલના બચ્ચામાંથી છો. તો પ્લીઝ માફ કરજો, કાંઈ ભૂલ થાય તો પ્લીઝ માફ કરજો. આપણે હવે પ્રોગ્રામ شروع करे तिलावत कुरान साथ. Please can I welcome Maulam Murtaza Bandali with the salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لو وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. وتلك هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله سبحان الله عما هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على رسول الله وآله الأطهار على رسول الله وآله الأطهار اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
Thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful recitation. We now have a message by the President of the World Federation, an online message. Please can I ask AV to play the clip.
Respected community members, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we commemorate the Khoja Heritage Day for 2025 across the world, Alhamdulillah Ta'ala, we need to remind ourselves as to why we are commemorating such a day every year. Heritage is not only a question of history. Heritage does mean reflection, a time for reflection, The reflection that Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salatu wasalam in the spiritual realm of a human being introduces. He says, Rahimallahu mra'an, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon an individual who reflects upon three questions. Arafa min ayn, where have you come from? Wa fi ayn, where are you at the moment? Wa ila ayn, and where are you heading towards? Our heritage is full of stories and history that allows us to reflect upon where we have come from, where we are, and where we are heading to. Every community has its story. We have a story, and that is a journey of faith. Alhamdulillah ta'ala, as a community in the 1870s, when we were shown the path of the Ahlul Bayt Salamullah Ajma'een by Sheikh Zainul Abidin Mazandarani, and when he sent one of the Muballigh from the Indian subcontinent, Mullah Qadir Hussain Karbalai, to come to India to support the community in that spiritual growth towards the madhab of the Ahlul Bayt. It was Mullah Qadir Hussain Karbalai in Mumbai when he held classes and educated the community. It was Haji Naji, one of the promising, very young students, only the age of 12, that he took so keen interest in the faith and was so instrumental in shaping the future destiny of many from our communities, that he learnt Persian language, he learnt Urdu, and with his profound Gujarati, he started translating texts to support the community. He put together 200 plus questions, sent it to Najaf so that they could get responses from the Marja, and in that way the community was guided, alhamdulillah. The legacy of Haji Naji is so profound that the Khoja Heritage team has dedicated this year's commemoration to Mullah Haji Naji, Allama Haji Naji. Allama Haji Naji translated the Holy Quran in Gujarati. He translated the Majmu'ah. Majmu'ah is a compilation of the du'as from Mafatihul Jinan in Gujarati language, and many, many other books and magazines that have been attributed to him. Not only was a scholar of high position and a scholar who was profound in his workings, alhamdulillah, Haji Naji was also a humanitarian at his best. He supported students who used to come to Bhavnagar. There were 4 students he used to support. And alhamdulillah, today the Haji Naji Trust has established a boarding school in the name of Haji Naji so that this legacy continues. I would like to take this opportunity of paying my salutations and alhamdulillah du'as for all our community members globally across all the Jamaats and regions for commemorating the Khoja Heritage Day, and to make sure that we remember our legacy, and in particular those scholars who have taken us to that path of perfection. Mullah Haji Naji, Allama Haji Naji needs to be remembered on this day, and we will remember him with Surah Fatiha. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We now have a message from Dr. Hasnain Walji. Please can I ask the AV team to play that message?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mu'minin, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. આજે આપણે ખોજા હેરિટેજ ડે 2025માં આ કાર્યક્રમ અર્પણ કરીએ છીએ અલ્લામા હાજી નાજીની યાદ. Today, we dedicate this Khoja Heritage Day in the memory of Allama Haji Naji. Well, let's travel back to Mumbai in the early 20th century. It was here in Dongri, humid air, narrow lanes, traders shouting, hustling and bustling, and the Khoja community, fragile, uncertain, and their faith was on trial. એ સમયે એક યુવાને કલમ હાથમાં લીધી અને એ યુવાન હતા ગુલામ અલી હાજી ઇસ્માઇલ, કે જેને આજે આપણે અલ્લામા હાજી નાજી તરીકે ઓળખીએ છીએ. As a boy, he followed his teacher, Mullah Qadir Hussain Karbalai, like a shadow. He would even fetch his shoes, and touched, the teacher told him, "Oh Ghulam Ali, today you lift my shoes. one day people will lift you in honor. History has proved those words so very true. Historian Monish Varteji describes him as from a third-class compartment alighted a man, 5 feet tall, black cap, long beard on a radiant face, a walking stick, a bag, and a basket in hand. This was Haji Naji, visiting the towns and villages of Kathiawar and elsewhere in Gujarat. તેમની દરેક મુલાકાતે લોકોને તેઓ સલવાર જોરથી પઢવા માટે પ્રોત્સાહિત કરતા હતા અને હંમેશા દુઆ કરતા હતા કે યા અલ્લાહ આ ગામમાં મસ્જિદ, ઇમામબારો, મદ્રસા જોઈ શકું એવો દિવસ તું મને દેખાડ. આમીન. Mu'mineen, his prayers were answered. Mosques, imam bargas, and madrasas grew across the land in the Khoja world in those days. But this journey was not easy. Even his mentor, Mullah Qadir, faced death threats. 3 men gave their lives for the Jafri faith, and still Haji Naji carried on with courage. He was more than a preacher. The Rahe-Najat magazine became a lifeline for many people. His Du'an o Mujmu entered every home, as familiar as Mafatihul Jinan. અને પછી આવ્યો સાચો ફેરફાર. કુરાનનું ગુજરાતી ભાષાંતર, ટ્રાન્સલેશન, એ પહેલા કુરાન પવિત્ર તો હતું, પણ આપણાથી દૂર હતું. But Haji Naji broke that barrier. For the first time, men and women of the Khoja community could read and pronounce the Quran in their own tongue. This was nothing short of a revolution. He did not stop at his desk. He traveled through Bharuch, Bhavnagar, Mahua, Jamnagar, Porbandar, and many other villages where ignorance was deep. He became the light. And I must pause here for a personal reflection. Because his other title, called Mirajus Saada, was just not another book. This indeed was, for me personally, a eureka moment. It pierced my soul, shaping my own faith journey across time and continents. But even the brightest pens face fire. In Ahmedabad, an arsonist set his place ablaze. His books turned to ash. And while people wept, તેઓ શાંતિથી બોલ્યા કે દર 40 દિવસે મોમીની એક કસોટી થાય છે. No anger, no despair, just faith. People remembered not just his books but his presence. Stepping off trains, dignified, white-clad, beard catching the light, villagers just gathered to see him arrive. His very being with them was a sermon in itself. Friends, today, as we sit in our air-conditioned imam bargas, praying in London mosques and Toronto centers, in Dar Islam Jamaats in Mumbai and elsewhere, but beneath the marble in the minarets, you will find his ink-stained hands. તો 2025માં તેમનો વારસો આપણા માટે શું અર્થ ધરાવે છે મોમીની? આ ફક્ત એક યાદ નથી, આ એક જવાબદારી છે. If he could rebuild after the flames of arson, what excuse do we have in this digital age of abundance? As we dedicate today, this Heritage Day 2025 to him, let us not just admire his portrait. Let us inherit his mission. લખવું, સાચવવું, શીખવવું અને હિંમત સાથે જીવવું. To write, to preserve, to teach and to live with courage. Because heritage is not just about gazing in the past. It is about carrying that fire in the future. અને છેલ્લે મોમીની યાદ કરવું એટલે કદર કરવી. And without appreciation, no community survives. યાદ એ જ દીવો છે, યાદ એ જ દીવો છે કે જે ભૂતકાળને ઉજાડે છે, અને કદર એ જ તેલ છે જે ભવિષ્ય સુધી તેને બળતું રાખે છે. વસ્સલામુ અલૈકુમ વરહમતુલ્લાહિ વબરકાતુહ.
Those words just said by Hassan, I was going to expand on some points about Allama Haji Naji. I'm going to take a different angle, inshallah. In preparation for today, I was reading the biography of Allama, and one story, this same story about the fire in his printing press really sat with me. In Abasa ek printing press hatu. Ne I printing press mano eno life no kam hatu. Magazines, ne manuscripts, ne Abasa pan ena pesa pan hata. I printing press ma. Ne pachi ek rat आग लाएगी है printing press में. ने नो बदू life नि काम गयो. Manuscripts गयो 50,000 rupees पन गयो. ने ई ज़माना में बहुत तो 50,000 rupees. तो पची लोगों ने पूछा कि तुम्हारा विचार सोचे नहीं आज बोलो कि after every 40 days रसूल खुदा ने हदीस कि after every 40 days a mu'min is tested. आओ खुलूसाते बोलो ने आओ खुलूसाते इकेरो नो काम. This has a message for us that even after the fire had taken away the manuscripts and everything, look at us today. We still managed to benefit from his work. We still managed to become the Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Why? Because the action was done with khulus and sincerity. Whatever we do, if we have the khulus and this intention, this niyyah behind it, we will inshallah find success, because it's Allah's hands that guides the rest of the way. So inshallah we make this intention to learn from Allama. And inshallah, in that way, our efforts will be filled to the end. For him, for all of our ulama, all of our shuhada, please recite one Suratul Fatiha. Bismillah. We now have a very exciting item on the agenda, which is the youth debate. Please can I call upon Brother Muhammad Ali Gokul to take over this part of the program. With salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
That was a very anemic salawat. We have a much louder salawat. Ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We'll need to do some practice. Which good thing that there will be plenty of opportunity to practice your salawat throughout this afternoon. How should we best do this? Can I actually ask to start with a show of hands? Who here believes that their Khoja identity is relevant to them today? Hands up. Hold on, let me just take a picture so that the security can escort some of you outside. So we have a really interesting agenda item today where, thank you, that's very enthusiastic. Very enthusiastic indeed. So we have an interesting item on the agenda today where 4 young people are going to try and explain to you why all the hands that were raised were incorrectly raised. And then 4 other young people are going to tell you why, no, keep your hands up in the air. So how are we going to do this? Let's have a think. I'm going to call upon our teams, and when I recite the teams' names, and I've introduced the 4 of them, can I ask you to do a really big, loud salawat, much better than the one before, if that's okay? Excellent. So, the motion for the debate we're doing this afternoon is as follows. Our Khoja identity is irrelevant today. Our Khoja identity is relevant today. Proposing the motion that our identity as Khojas is irrelevant today is Team Taqwa. Team Taqwa. So I'm going to invite you to recite a salawat for the following individuals. And I'll introduce the 4 of them, and then you can do one loud salawat. So, where's Hussein Datu? Could I have Hussein Datu? Could you stand up, please, Hussein Datu? Hussein Datu is a year 11 student currently studying for his GCSEs. Miriam Fatima Nazrali. Where's Miriam? Miriam, please stand up. She's a year 12 student studying maths, economics, politics, and Spanish. Where's Mohammed Abbas Sultan? Where's he gone? Mohammed Abbas, exceptional young man from Milton Keynes who is studying his T-level in business. And last but not least, from Team Taqwa is Ayla Mariam Qasim, who is studying biology, chemistry, and economics at A-level. Could I have a loud salawat for Team Taqwa, please? Okay, you can sit down. Today we're going to find out what's more important, taqwa or deen, because the competing team, the opposing team, is deen team. Okay, so we'll find out whether there's deen or taqwa that comes first in our religion. So could we have Mehdi Waji upstanding, please? Mehdi Waji is a curious Year 12 student exploring the relevance of Khoja heritage in modern society. Ruqayya Hassan Ali, where's Ruqayya? Hello, Ruqayya. She's a Year 13 student studying maths, computer science, and geography. Shaka Molidina. Shaka, you're going to have to take your jacket off to show people what you're wearing. Thank you. Please stand around. Shaka's biography is as follows. He's a student at Haberdashers studying history, politics, and economics for A-levels. And he does modern United Nations debating. And as you can see from his jumper, he's an activist for Palestine, mashallah. And last but not least, Sister Sophia Barwani with Sophia. Sophia is a first-year A-level student studying maths, economics, physics, and computer science. Could we have a loud salawat for this wonderful team, Deen team? Allah Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. In addition to these 8 speakers, you have on my left to your right 3 exceptional judges who I'm very delighted to introduce to you today. So firstly, Brother Zahid Jiwa. Zahid has 20 years technology sales leadership experience from startups to Salesforce. He's now leading mid-market and marketing and AI for ServiceNow, the world's leading AI platform for the enterprise. To his right, thank you, excellent. Thank you, I'll need that in future as well. Sister Sakina Karim Hussain. Sakina Bai is a financial planner specializing in supporting high net worth individuals with their first financial goals. Although much of her work revolves around numbers, she recognizes that clear and effective communication lies at the heart of what she does. And clear and effective communication is going to be a big part of today's debate, we hope. And last but not least, Mahmouda Bai Jiwa. Mahmouda is a senior school maths teacher. She's on the panel for the youth offending team for the Borough of Hillingdon. So everyone behave. And Mahmouda Bai is also a member of the co-ed mediation team, as well as a member of the hujjat reconciliation team. And those are our judges for this afternoon. Could we have one last loud salawat for them, please? Allahumma salli ala. So we have a lot of business to get through today. We're going to find out to what extent the K in KSIMC is really relevant. We're going to do it as follows. Each speaker will have 4 minutes to present their arguments in favor or opposing the motion. They will also be given at the beginning of their speech 30 additional seconds to rebut the previous speaker's comments, to say why they think the previous speaker is speaking gobbledygook. The judges will be judging on 3 criteria. Firstly, the quality of their arguments. How effectively are they putting forward cogent arguments in favor or against the motion? Secondly, the quality of their rebuttal. To what extent are they effectively rebutting, opposing what the previous speaker has said? Thirdly and finally, they'll be judged on the quality of their oratory ability. How effectively have they communicated, presented, put forward their arguments? How does that sound? Are you excited? Excellent. The judges are very excited. Can we have one last loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Okay. I'm going to call upon our first speaker. He won't be rebutting anyone unless he wants to rebut me, but he'll get an opportunity to rebut at the end. His 4 minutes will begin when he comes to the podium. Hussein, please come forward.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I stand before you today to propose the motion, our Khoja identity is irrelevant today. Let's begin with a simple question. What does Khoja even mean? The truth is, from my personal experience, I've asked many people, even in our own community, they can't answer the question. Khoja comes from the Persian word Khawaja, meaning master or noble. Originally, it was just a title of respect given to early Indian converts to Islam. Over time, it became a label for a group that later split into Shia Ithnaasharis, Ismailis, and even Sunnis. So the Khoja identity is not just one faith, one culture, or one group of people. It's a historical label that once served a purpose, but no longer defines who we are today. Some might say, but our Khoja heritage connects us. It gives us belonging. Yes, it once did. When our ancestors migrated from Gujarat to East Africa, that sense of belonging was vital for survival. It united them in new countries and helped them build their communities. But that was before. We no longer live in small, isolated communities. We live in places like London, Toronto, New York, and beyond. Our world is global, our societies are diverse, and our identities have evolved. If someone asks, where is your culture from? Would you proudly reply, I'm Khoja? Most of us wouldn't. We'd say we're British, Canadian, Indian, Pakistani, or simply Muslims. Because today, our identity isn't defined by an old tribal title. It's defined by faith and values. Some might argue, but being Khoja preserves our values and traditions. But let's ask ourselves, which traditions, the generosity, discipline, and community spirit we cherish aren't Khoja traits, they're Islamic ones. They belong to every Muslim who follows the teachings of the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt. You don't need to be Khoja to live by compassion, charity, and integrity. Outside of Africa, where some tribal cultures still exist, most Khojas already primarily identify as Shia or Shia Ithnaashari. That's who we truly are, not our tribe but by belief. The label Khoja now often creates division, whereas Islam teaches us unity. Of course, we honor our history. We respect our ancestors who carried the faith across oceans and built the foundations we stand on today. People such as Allama Haji Naji, whom we are commemorating. But do we truly honor them by carrying our faith, by clinging to a name, or by living their values and taking our faith forward? Should we define ourselves by our past or by the faith that transcends it? Brothers and sisters, our ancestors gave us a name, but Islam gave us our purpose. The past should inspire us, not imprison us. The future belongs to those who see themselves not as members of a tribe, but as part of a global community united by faith. So I ask you, when we stand before Allah on the day of Qiyamah, will we be judged by our tribe, our identity, of our faith, or by our deeds? That's why I firmly believe our Khoja identity is irrelevant in the modern day. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'm just going to take that off. No, don't. Yeah, thank you. That was a very impressive argument, Hussein. I'm sure everyone would like me to explain that in your heart of hearts you do believe that your Khoja identity is relevant, but you put forward a very convincing argument why you think otherwise. It's just a debate, as we all know. Standing up soon to rebut will be Mahdi Waji. As I mentioned, he'll have 30 seconds to rebut, followed by his full 4 minutes for his argument as to why he believes Khoja identity is relevant today. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Before I start for my short rebuttal, I would just like to explain that without our Khoja identity, we wouldn't be sitting here today. We wouldn't be learning about what we're learning about today. And it's because of the work of our forefathers and the intertwining support of our community and the love that we have carried for generations that we are allowed to come here today, to sit here today, to learn about what we are learning about today. Assalamu alaikum, my dear judges, respected guests, and all those who have worked tirelessly to make this debate possible. Let us remember our beginnings. Centuries ago, our forefathers in South Asia were seekers of truth. In a time when knowledge of Islam was scarce and misconceptions were many, they searched for the true message of the Holy Prophet and the path of the Ahlul Bayt. When the light of guidance reached them, they embraced it with conviction. They did not inherit Islam easily. No, they chose it through struggle and sincerity. And when they accepted the message of Tawheed, Nubuwah and Imamah, they faced trials and persecution. Yet they remained steadfast. Just as the Holy Quran reminds us, do not lose hope or despair, for you shall have the upper hand if you are believers. That belief gave them strength. That belief gave them strength, and when the winds of time forced them to move, they carried the torch of Islam across continents, from South Asia to East Africa, and later to Europe, North America, and beyond. They crossed oceans not for luxury, but for faith. They built mosques before they built homes. They taught Quran before they taught their own language. They gathered as communities so that Islam, our Islam, the faith they had discovered and cherished, would live on in their children's hearts. Their journey reflects the timeless Islamic principle of hijrah, migration for the sake of preserving faith. Just as the Holy Prophet left Mecca for Medina to safeguard Islam, our ancestors too migrated, not for comfort, but for conviction. So I ask, if our forefathers traveled thousands and thousands and thousands of miles to keep Islam alive, what does it say about us if we now drift away from the identity they built through their own sacrifice? Our Khoja identity is not merely about ethnicity or culture. It is about continuity, courage, and conviction. It represents a community that blended spirituality with service, tradition with progress, and faith with unity. To forget that identity would be to turn our backs on the sacrifice of those who carried Islam in their hearts and passed it to us generation after generation. Because as Imam Ali so beautifully reminds us, the one who has no past has no future. I reiterate, the one who has no past has no future. If we forget our roots, how can we grow? If we abandon our story, how can we write the next chapter? Our Khoja identity is our connection to that past and the key to our future. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was an excellent introduction for Dean team. Thank you very much indeed, Mahdi. He who has no, what was it, Imam Ali? No history, no future. Was that right? You have to say it a third time. One who has no past has no future. Hassan, thank you very much. Responding and rebutting from Team Taqwa is Sister Maryam Fatima Nazrali. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just to start off and rebut the point that was just said, what this brother described about how we need to know our roots and know our heritage in order to be able to connect to our faith, that describes what any citizen of the world needs to be, not necessarily, like, it doesn't necessarily describe the identity of a Khoja. Today, I represent the motion that Khoja heritage is irrelevant today. Let me start with a simple question. What makes a Khoja a Khoja? If I told you someone was Khoja, would you be able to identify them from the way they dress, speak, or behave? You might say someone who's always late, or someone who serves biryani at weddings. But none of this is unique to us. This could describe anyone, and that's the problem. There is nothing distinct that defines Khoja heritage. It doesn't have a tangible identity. It cannot be seen, touched, or clearly defined. If you ask anyone to define a Khoja, adults would probably start describing the history of migration, and the youth would probably not have anything to say. This is due to the fact that there is no single cultural marker, such as food, clothing, language, or tradition, that community represents all Khojas. Therefore, it's difficult to define it. To illustrate this point, let me give an example. Ask a Khoja from Madagascar what Mandazi or Barazi is, they might stare blankly at you. Equally, ask a Khoja from East Africa what Mukari is, they'll do the same. Even with the Khoja community, we've adapted our words based on where we live. This highlights how Khoja identity is not a culture of its own. It's a blend and a mix of many others. There's no single thread that ties us all together. Our so-called heritage is just a reflection of the places we've lived, not a culture that stands on its own. If we all express our identity differently, then what actually makes us Khoja? Not much other than our ancestry. From this, we see that Khoja heritage is not an identity, as it can't be determined by looking at an individual. Rather, it is an origin. It describes to us where our ancestors came from, rather than providing us with cultural traditions and practices to carry out. There is nothing necessarily to be inherited. Over generations, the idea has been diluted due to communities' global spread. We've absorbed different elements of every culture that we exist in, such as Indian, Arab, East African, European, and many other cultures. We've become a cultural cocktail, and when you mix everything together, the original flavor disappears. Let's take the example of today. We're gathered here for Khoja Heritage Day, but look around. We're wearing Arab clothes, serving Indian food, and communicating in a Western language. The essence of Khoja identity has become to adapt to one's surroundings, assimilating into local societies to survive. While one might say this represents a lack of authenticity, it's not as if we have a specific identity that we're straying from. And while that adaptability is something to admire, it's also why our heritage has no clear shape today. Every generation becomes more global, more modern, more disconnected from whatever Khoja heritage was once was. And can we blame them? There's no real anchor in the sea of different cultures to hold on to. We can, of course, respect and acknowledge where we came from. We can celebrate the journeys of our ancestors, the values of resilience and community. But these are just Islamic and human values, not uniquely Khoja values. You don't need to be Khoja to embody them. So when we ask, is Khoja identity relevant today? The answer is no, because it has no tangible, visible, or defining role in modern and daily life. It's a label of the past, not an identity of the present. It embraces change and constant adaptation to the surroundings. And in embracing that change, we've outgrown the need for a separate Khoja identity. So what remains of Khojaism is rooted in ancestry rather than in daily life. The identity is what we're meant to have inherited. However, there's nothing tangible to inherit. And this is why I stand by the motion that Khoja heritage is irrelevant today. Thank you.
Used every second of your 4 minutes. That was excellent and very quotable, Miriam Fatima. Thank you very much. For Dean team opposing the motion is Ruqayya Hassan Ali. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Respected judges, fellow debaters, brothers and sisters in the audience, Assalamu alaikum. So I'll start off with a rebuttal. My opponent mentioned that our Khoja identity is not tangible, but there are many other things that are not tangible, such as our belief. For example, if I saw a man walking down the street, I would not necessarily be able to identify him as a Muslim based off of his outward appearance. I believe that our Khoja identity is a source of strength, belonging, and community, especially for young people like myself. Community is the lived experience of supporting one another, growing together, and knowing that wherever we are, there will always be a network of like-minded people to welcome and uplift us. This is something that no amount of globalization or modernization could ever replace. For many Khojas like myself, this sense of community and belonging is personal. I have experienced firsthand how growing up within this community has shaped my confidence. For example, through sport. I have been playing community sports for as long as I can remember. However, at first I was reluctant due to negative experiences at non-community clubs that hindered my confidence. However, I quickly realized that these were much more than just sports clubs. They were spaces filled with people just like me, Khojas, that encouraged, uplifted, and pushed me to be the best person I could be. Delving more into the non-community sports clubs, you may be wondering why I had such different experiences there. Well, rather than feeling included, I felt like somewhat of an outsider. Instead of encouragement, I was faced with comparison, and rather than belonging, I was met with pressure. This difference matters, because it shows that our Khoja identity is more than simply a label we carry due to tradition. It is a framework of support, care, and belonging that actively shapes who we are becoming. Some people in a modern world may argue that this so-called label creates division, but I would argue the very opposite. It creates connection. The world is becoming so much more individualistic and disconnected, so much so that having a strong communal identity is more relevant than ever. All of this does not just apply to young people in sports. This community provides a strong social network that everyone can genuinely rely on, whether in emergencies or in daily life. When someone falls ill, when a family is grieving, when someone is in need of guidance, everyone offers to lend a helping hand. Community-run funds, care programs, volunteering networks, these all fill the gaps where society falls short. Things like seniors retreat, support for widows, and Al-Hadi camps and events do not just exist to entertain us, they prevent loneliness, build resilience, and keep us all spiritually grounded. Khoja identity has given us intergenerational ties, global networks of jamaats, shared moral grounding, and a sense of rootedness that protects our mental and emotional well-being. It reminds us that we are not alone. So when someone says that our Khoja identity is irrelevant today, I ask to whom? Not to the young girl that found her belonging through community sports, not to the student who is supported by community scholarships, not the family that was brought together by shared faith and Khoja institutions, not the child with additional needs that has been embraced and included, and certainly not the elderly who has found companionship through retreats and events. Our Khoja identity ensures that every member of society is included, respected, and valued. This makes it not only relevant, but essential. Thank you.
Sorry, I think I just broke an important cable. So if your Wi-Fi is just gone, you know why. I'm sorry. Another excellent speech. Thank you very much indeed, Sister Rokeya. Speaking, it's his first debate actually. Muhammad Abbas Sultan will be speaking in opposition to the speech we just had in favor of the motion our Khoja identity is relevant today. Salawat.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone here. So obviously I'm going to start off with my rebuttal. I believe that being Khoja creates a division if you're going to say you've been surrounded by a good community and a good heart, proving that Khoja is a culture. My rebuttal, okay, wait. So I'm just going to move on to my main point now. So our Khoja heritage, whilst meaningful in the past, has lost all its relevance in today's world. It once helped our ancestors unite, survive, and build communities, but we live in a different world now, one that's globally connected and constantly changing. And if we keep clinging onto an old label, we risk holding ourselves back instead of moving forward. The Khoja identity came from a time when people needed it for protection and belonging, but that purpose simply does not exist anymore. We're not limited to one town, one culture, or one group. We're all citizens of the world, studying abroad, building businesses, marrying across cultures, and connecting through shared values, not just shared surnames. Most young people today don't even identify strongly as Khoja. They identify as Muslims, as global citizens. My second point is, Khoja-run organizations can simply go on to be successful without being labeled as Khoja. For example, the World Federation of the KSIMC, it stands for the World Federation of the Khoja Shia Ithna Ashari Muslim Community. It's labeled like that. It seems like it's targeted just at us as Khojas. Why does it have to be targeted at us at Khojas when it could simply be successful by targeting at everyone if they simply remove the label? So now I know what some people might say, but if we let go of our Khoja heritage, we'll simply forget all our roots. I hear it, I understand it. But let's be clear, heritage is not what keeps values alive, it's people that do that. You don't need a label to carry compassion, service, and community spirit. Those are not Khoja values, those are simply human values. We can still honor our ancestors by embodying what they stood for, unity, generosity, resilience, but in a way that fits today's world. So to conclude, Khoja Heritage deserves our respect, but not our reliance. It was a bridge for the past, not a blueprint for the future. Today, what matters most is not where we came from, but where we're going. Our generation has the power to redefine what community means: open, inclusive, and forward-thinking. Khoja-run organizations don't need the Khoja tag to succeed. They need purpose, vision, and unity that crosses boundaries. That's how we honor our past, by building a future and everyone can belong to it. Thank you for listening to me. Wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was really excellent, Mahdouz. Thank you very much. Please join me in welcoming Brother Shakir to rebut and put forward his argument. Salawat.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with a bit of rebuttal to what we just heard. We heard that the Khoja identity was just something that was important when our ancestors fled South Asia in the 15th century. That is not the case. To many people in this room today, that would have also been relevant to when they fled Uganda in 1972. And had it not been for that shared Khoja identity, we wouldn't have these institutions today. It was those people that fled the persecution in Uganda, those people who came from the struggles that non-Khojas can't understand, that caused them to come to the UK, unite as a community over a shared understanding of their history and ideas to make the Khoja Shia Ethnic Muslim community of Stanmore, Toronto, Vancouver, like Dubai, Texas, everywhere across the world. Okay, so now on to my main point. Our differences are our strength as a species and as a world community. These are the words of Nelson Mandela. Today, I stand not only to defend the relevance of Khoja identity, but also something far greater, and the right of minorities to preserve their narratives, their language, and their pride. The Quran reminds us in Surah Al-Hujrat, "O mankind, we created you from a male and a female, and made you into nations and tribes so that you may get to know one another." This verse is often quoted but rarely understood. It's not asking us to erase our identity for a unified Muslim front. Of course this is important, but it asks us to know one another. And when minority stories like Khoja's vanish, humanity loses its knowledge of itself. Because Khojas, while they are a small community, they are global and historically and socially very important. The Khoja community's very existence proves that narrative is survival. Let me take you back to the 14th century in Gujarat, when our community and our ancestors merged Islamic belief with local culture and then migrated to East Africa in the 19th century, to Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Madagascar. They built mosques, schools, and other civic institutions that served both Muslim and non-Muslim populations. And when Idi Amin expelled 80,000 Asians from Uganda in 1972, 25,000 of those were Khojas. Their shops were seized, their passports revoked, their futures erased overnight. But their story and their sense of being Khoja, of belonging to a transnational family with a shared language, faith, and memory, allowed them to rebuild. And within 5 years, we'd established Jamaats in London, Toronto, and Dar es Salaam, forming the base of today's World Federation, which unites 150,000 members in over 40 countries. That's what preserving minority narrative achieves. It transforms displacement into continuity and loss into legacy. Had those 25,000 Khojas that were expelled by Idi Amin, which included Mullah Asghar, dropped their identity and not seen it as relevant, especially due to the repression they face, as the other side of the house wants you to believe today, we wouldn't have the many Jamaats we do today globally. And they serve a key purpose into our youth, and they run important programs from Ramadan to Muharram, and they carry the legacy of the Ahlul Bayt. It's important, brothers and sisters, that we understand that Khojas and the World Federation carry the burden, or some of the burden, of the Ahlul Bayt's legacy in the modern day, especially in the Western world. If those Khojas hadn't got together over their shared unity, we wouldn't have these institutions. And the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that come to the Khoja mosques to remember the legacy of Imam Hussein and Amir al-Mu'mineen and the Prophet would not have happened. When a minority forgets its story, it disappears. And across the world, minority erasure is accelerating. In India, Islamophobia and Hindutva nationalism threaten our own Khoja brothers and sisters back home. In 2023, here in the UK, there was at least 10 Islamophobic hate incidents every single day. In China, Uyghur Muslims are facing a genocide. In Palestine, Palestinians and Muslims and Arabs are facing a genocide. And when majorities attempt to dictate how us as minorities should look, or pray, or speak, preserving one's cultural narrative becomes a form of peaceful defiance. And the Khojas have done precisely that. They built the KSIMC of London in 1972, led by Mullah Asghar. His vision was simple. If we preserve the language and the values and the self-respect of a community who have a shared history to connect on, we can not only carry on the legacy of the Ahlul Bayt, but have community centers here which serve our senior members, our youth members, and everyone in between. Preserving Khoja identity isn't about one group, because the Khoja identity has led to a collaborative work between Khojas to make a real difference in the world. Khojas, for example, due to their shared identity, have built over 120 schools and medical centers in East Africa. Their charitable institutions such as the Zahra Trust and World Federation serve Muslims and non-Muslims alike. Had we not sustained our Khoja identity, none of this would exist, and our schools wouldn't have been built, our relief funds wouldn't have happened, and that's also why projects like Hujjat Harefield matter. The petition against Hujjat Harefield is an attack on our Khoja identity and our Shia beliefs. If we forgot our identity, we would not be able to have centers like this to continue the legacy of the Ahlul Bayt.
We all know that Shaka could have done a full majalis there with great passion. I thought that was really excellent. Thank you very much, Shaka. Some really, really good points. And I think Ali Jawad Hansara, Secretary General of World Federation, will be very happy for the WF little pitch there. Thank you very much indeed. In response, proposing the motion, we have Team Taqwa. Our final speaker for Team Taqwa will be Ayla Mariam Qasim. Please welcome her with a salawat.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Shakir raised some very good points, but I have a rebuttal. I'd say it may be the name of the culture, but why celebrate a culture that arguably has no substance? You said that that loads of people come to our mosque to remember Imam Hussein, but I would say they come because of the way we represent Azadari, not because of the fact that we are Khoja. You said that we should preserve our language, but who's actually preserved Kutchi? Who's actually preserved our original language? I'd say we've failed to do so. And now for my speech. I'd say Khoja culture, once a rich and distinct identity, has become largely irrelevant in today's interconnected world. The reality is that our generation cannot give me a clear definition as to what being a Khoja means. This is apparent as the term itself has faded from everyday use, and many young people couldn't explain its history, origins, or cultural significance if I asked them. Heritage can only remain meaningful when it continues to shape a person's sense of self, yet the Khoja label no longer does so for most. I saw this personally in madrasa when a Pakistani Khoja had joined our class. The class was shocked at the fact that one from a country other than India could classify as Khoja. And the sad truth remains that many within the Khoja category are forgotten and discarded. When even those within the community feel invisible, it becomes difficult to sustain the relevance of the identity itself. Though Khoja culture, once traditionally rooted in the regions of Gujarat and Kutch, whereby the community once shared customs, language, and a strong sense of belonging, as generations have migrated and assimilated across different countries, that shared foundation has unfortunately eroded, in my opinion. Today, Khojas in Pakistan, India, and East Africa no longer have a unifying national language. Kutchi and Gujarati, once central to the culture, are either dying dialects or only used by a small fraction of elders. Younger Khojas often speak Urdu, English, or Swahili instead, aligning more with their national cultures than with their ancestral one. In fact, they may rather identify as such nationalities rather than explaining the ancestral paths so few of them actually understand. This linguistic shift signals a deeper loss of cultural continuity. Language is the vessel through which traditions, stories, and values are passed down. When that vessel fades, the identity it carried weakens too. Furthermore, alongside the lack of common language, the community technically lacks a single religion that unifies the Khoja community. Seeing as our own community here today continuously forget and discard the fact that there are Ismaili Khojas, Sunni Khojas, and a lingering awareness of Hindu origins within our actual history. Without a common religion or belief system, the cultural coherence of the Khoja identity has weakened to a point of near disappearance. If our own Shia Ithna Ashari community continuously fail to acknowledge the bigger picture, that the Khoja community is far more diverse than we each realize, why celebrate this culture when it is unwaveringly misrepresented as this niche class of Indian Shias, when the reality is that this is only a small piece of the real truth? In this context, Khoja culture has become more of a historical footnote than a living identity. As our own communities within the classification of being Khoja fail to represent this holistically and many fail to define it correctly, this indicates its loss of significance not just to us but to the wider world. If even we cannot do so, this is a testament to the fact that Khojas are nowhere near visible as an identity as we go about our daily lives at school, at work, at social events, and within the societies we live in. This reveals that such an aspect which once shaped those within the community has in fact dissolved over time. The markers that once defined the Khoja community have diluted into broader, more hybrid identities. Rather than holding on to a label that so few of us actually understand, today's generation identifies through shared values, modern experiences, and global connections, not through a fading heritage that no longer resonates with us. Thank you for listening.
Excellent final closing speech for Team Taqwa. Ayla, thank you very much indeed. And for the final main speech for Dean Team, opposing the motion our Khoja identity is relevant today, please welcome Safia Barwani with a salawat.
Assalamu alaikum. So just to start with my rebuttal, Ayla mentioned that she claimed that the Khoja community has no substance. History shows otherwise. The Khoja identity has preserved Islamic teachings, fostered a sense of belonging, and helped generations practice their faith more devoutly. It has more than a label. It's a living tradition that strengthens our spiritual and communal life. Now, when we talk about the Khoja identity, we are not just talking about an ethnic label. We are talking about a story that begins with courage, adaptation, and faith, which continues to live through us today. Our ancestors showed undeniable courage. They crossed oceans, rebuilt their lives time and time again, yet always held on to something precious, their sense of Khoja community and belief. And that is the legacy we inherit. Not just surnames and customs, but their sabr, their spirit of patience and perseverance grounded in tawakkul, their trust in Allah. When we understand history, it changes how we see ourselves. It reminds us that our identity is not about being old-fashioned. It's about remembering where we came from. Knowing that our grandparents and great-grandparents built institutions, schools, and communities from scratch, including the Jamaats we belong to and the mosque we all grew up in. It tells us you belong somewhere. Your story started long before you did, and that is deeply personal. Because when we forget our roots, we risk becoming just faces in the crowd, disconnected and directionless. But when we embrace them, our identity becomes a source of grounding. It gives us a perspective for when the world moves too fast. However, our heritage is not just in grand institutions or historical stories. It lives in the everyday traditions that we carry forward. Every Eid, my family and I make burfi using my Dadi Ma's recipe, which was passed down to her. Similarly, every Muharram, I help prepare sherbet at mosque, a legacy passed down by our community elders. Helping to do so has allowed me to connect with the aunties in our community, bridging the gap between us and allowing me to learn from their wisdom and stories firsthand. Famous across the community, even Stanmore's secret chai recipe is a perfect example of how heritage flows through even the smallest, most meaningful acts. In Islam, we are identified through our lineage, X ibn Y, linking us directly to our forefathers. This is not just a name, it's a responsibility and a legacy. Every action we take carries forward the values, resilience, and faith of those who came before us. Preserving our Khoja identity does the same. If we reject that identity, then what do we leave behind but a blank page where centuries of faith and struggle once stood? So yes, our world is modern, global, and changing, but relevance does not involve disregarding the past. It means recognizing that our history still guides us. The directions our ancestors made did not end with them. They flow through us, unstoppable and unbroken, their legacy, heritage, and chai alive in every decision we make. Thank you.
Yeah, sales of chai are going to be very high today. Secret chai recipe, I need to get hold of that. Thank you very much. Oh, that was the final main speech we have. We have a 30-second rebuttal from our first speaker, Hussein. Please welcome him with the last salawat.
So as my fellow opponents have said, we have included our Khoja identity, but yeah, through chai and other things. But if we look at North America, in the case of NASIMCO, which stands for the North America Shia Ethnoshri Muslim Communities, on their organization member page, they've listed 28 members, none of whom include Khoja in their name. The largest was Toronto Jamaat, which was established in the 70s and named East Africa Khoja Shia Ethnoshri Union of Toronto. But in 1977, its name was changed to Islamic Shia Ethnoshri Union of Toronto to reflect its growing identity. So in the case of North America, we have been deliberately downplaying our Khoja identity for more than 50 years. And this means that we've lost our ground in identity to make way for non-Khoja identities. No, I'm done.
That concludes all the speeches and the rebuttals. Judges, I know we were planning to come back with adjudication now, but we've actually got a little bit more time because there's going to be a quiz, and then you can announce your results. So there'll be lots of you can do istikharah shortly, is what I'm saying. So take your time. I'm joking. Got some nervous-looking parents in the crowd. That was extraordinary. I'm sure you'll all agree with me. The vitality of a community or any organization lies in the energy of its youth. When I was doing debating about 400 years ago when I was a young person, we used to debate simple things like, is the death penalty moral? Or this house proposes to abolish parking fines. Those were simple, empirical arguments and debates to engage with. What these fantastic, phenomenal young people have engaged with is a much more difficult, intangible, ephemeral topic that interweaves culture and language and history. They covered everything from the Quran to Imam Ali to chai, as you heard repeatedly, but they did it all with such grace and elan and poise that belied their youth. I'm tremendously proud of them, I'm sure you all are too, and I'm tremendously hopeful for their future and actually of their peers, because it gives me great belief in some of the arguments that they're coming up with. If you watch debates in the Houses of Parliament, or you watch legal debates, or if any of you have been to court, or even if you watch things like the WFXCO or Co-Ed meetings or Jamaat meetings, without doing disrespect to any of our brothers and sisters and indeed our parents, the level of some of the discussions that was had here today is certainly not at a lower level. And I think we should all congratulate them before the judges announce the results later on with 3 loud salawats. And I'm going to ask the 8 young people to stand up and accept your salawats 3 times. Allah Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala. Turn around please. Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala. That was probably the hardest moment they've had this year. Please sit down, sit down. Thank you very much indeed. I think that's fine. I'm now going to hand it back to Brother Kazim. You'll hear the results later on. Reminder, they'll be judged on 3 elements, which is quality of argument, quality of rebuttal, and the quality of their oral presentation. Thank you very much indeed. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Well, Team Taqwa really came on smoke there. We'll find out next year if they won, if there's another Khoja Heritage Day or not. Now, please, we'll have a speech by the Secretary General of the World Federation, my personal mentor, Ali Uncle Hansraj. Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين. World Federation Namaji Pramukh Alhaj Dr. Munir Datu, मारा वडीलों बुजुर्गों भाइयों तथा बहनों अस्सलाम वालेकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू. સૌથી પ્રથમ પરવરદિગારનો લાખ લાખ શુક્ર છે કે 11 વર્ષની જેમ આપણે ફરીથી અહીંયા ખોજા હેરિટેજ ડે વસીલે ભેગા થયા છે. I'll keep this brief and also bilingual because A, you will find out the poverty of my Gujarati vocabulary, but B, also આપણા જે યુવા છે આ અંગ્રેજીમાં વધારે comfortable છે. So I'll resort to a bit of English, bit of Kutchi, bit of Gujarati, and maybe a few words in Urdu as well. But I won't take more than 3 minutes, inshallah. मुंहिंजा दादा बापा, मुंहिंजी फूई, मुंहिंजा पप्पा मरे कच्छी में ॻाल्हि करता हुआ. न जे मारी नानी माँ, मारा नाना बापा, मारी मम्मी, मारी मासी બધા ગુજરાતીમાં વાત કરતા હતા. પણ કોઈ દિવસ કચ્છી અને ગુજરાતીનો ઝઘડો નથી થતો. Uganda exodus made us move to Karachi, and Karachi welcomed us with open arm, और हमने उर्दू का दामन भी संभाल लिया. इस तरह जैसे कि एक सानी में, एक प्लेट में मंडाजी भी है, समोसा भी है, कुकू पाका भी है और हलीम भी है. सबका अपना जायका है. Everyone is free to enjoy everything. The mandazi is not judging the samosa and the halim is not judging the kuku paka. I am really honored to be part of a gathering where we have our distinguished elders, but even more so, with due respect, we have our distinguished youth who have spoken from their heart and made us very proud. Brother Ali was right in saying that we have our future leaders. Indeed, Maru Khali Dod Varas Regio Che Terma. I am looking for people to replace the ASEAN World Federation, and I can see a number of youth leaders, inshallah, who can come and take forward and take this community forward. For the tawfiqat of these young people and for their parents and their teachers who have raised them so well, can I please ask you to recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We are very deeply honored to have here a member of the family of Allama Haji Naji. And I have requested the sister to say a few words. She has very, very reluctantly agreed to say a few words briefly. So inshallah, I will relinquish the rest of my time so we can hear from the great-granddaughter of Allama. But because the Khushali is around the corner, I will just say a few lines of shairi for the Khushali of Bibi Zainab. Zainab Abu Turab ki zinat ka naam hai. ज़ैनब अबू तुराब की ज़ीनत का नाम है. ज़ैनब इमामतों की अमानत का नाम है. ज़ैनब अली के खून की तहारत का नाम है. ज़ैनब हुसैनियत की ज़रूरत का नाम है. माना वजूद शाह में पूरी है करबला. ज़ैनब अगर ना हो तो अधूरी है करबला. With that, I would like to offer a very special thanks to Sister Sukaina Noor Muhammad, who has been the driver of the Khoja Heritage day last year and this year. She's a counselor of the World Federation. She's office bearer in hujjat KSIMC of London. And most importantly, she's a servant of the faith and the community. The rest of the vote of thanks I will leave to Sukena Bai, but I knew she would never mention her own name, so I just took this opportunity to do so. And with those words, I would like to invite the great-granddaughter of Allama Haji Naji, the granddaughter of Marhum Kazim Ali Kausari, my sister Azra Bai Nanjani. Please welcome Sister Azra with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Dear sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, two disclaimers. I've never done public speaking, and second of all, I don't have the sense of humor that my cousin brother has just shared, mashallah. So I just thought this morning as I was coming here, I just remembered a few things from my dada, who's son of Allama Haji Naji. So as I was growing up around him and got to an age where you start thinking about religion, about different questions, and I remember when I would ask him anything to do with my understanding and or doubts, he took me to a metal wardrobe or cupboard, and he got the book out and opened and explained to me what I was asking about. And I just this morning when I was remembering that, I just thought, that's so amazing. Actually, he must have known the answers to my little questions, I'm sure. But maybe he was trying to show a process of taking me to the books and then opening. Maybe it was like a way of showing that you don't just answer from your opinions or whatever you think or prefer, and maybe that was a way of teaching the child that you have to go to the sources and you have to learn from the right means. So that came to my mind. And another thing that just I thought it would be nice to share, when I was growing up and I saw him doing his everyday life, I noticed that he did a lot. He was like mentioned about Rahinajat magazine. He was the editor and he was writing all his life and studying all his life. That's what I was seeing. But he didn't have a fancy office from where he would write and read. It was just this wooden, half kind of desk on his bed where he would be all the time. Whenever I was across his room, he'd be studying. He did do his, little gardening and other normal life things, go to his office, printing press and stuff. But the way he gathered his information, the way he did his studies was so simple. He used to wear just a white top, like a kameez or kurta, and a white bottom. Like everything was, his life was so simple, so simple. His wardrobe, I remember, was so simple. So that was just a reminder and a learning that, we can be very, very simple in the way we live, but we can do very good work. So that's all. I wasn't prepared, so I'm sorry, I'm not going to say much. But that's just, I thought, just what reflections came. But yeah, please keep us in your du'as. Inshallah, we can learn to be as simple and as, practical in what we can do. Thank you.
Hassan, thank you so much for that beautiful reflection. I'll now hand over to the electric duo, sisters Ruqayya and Khadija, to run a quiz. Please can I welcome them with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. please join me in reciting a loud salawat, please. I hope you've all been taking away a lot from this event. I know I am. I was amazed by the debate that happened. MashaAllah, you guys, all 8 of you, were just wowing on top of wowing. Literally, after everyone, I'm telling Khoja, oh my God, they're so good. They're so good, MashaAllah. So please, let's recite a loud salawat for our youngsters here who, inshallah, whether they choose to remain with the Khoja identity in the future or not, will definitely remain as strong Shia Ibn Ashari. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Khoja, he jarak nar to, please. Nar, dedi halaya message.
Dari etla hota hai WhatsApp mein halaya tha. Saro di WhatsApp.
But na, he important hai. Ichia ke koi jo sagai thi hai.
Kenji sagai thi?
Fatima.
Fatima ke?
Who cover hai? Jo dedi tanga mein summer holidays vaste venda wa, and then inja jo friend wa, unji bai, ji chokri, jo lo ka Singida mein rehta.
Who kida we?
Singida, like, you know, Tanzania.
Okay.
तो खबर किन साथ ऐसा गए थे?
किन साथ है?
खबर मुंबासा में पांजा पारसी?
मुझे कहते खबर पांजा पारसी क्यों?
Khoja पांजा पारसी जो आइने इन जो बाबू काचरी जो लेन में वा, and then
काचरी
who mix वारा? Anyway, उन जो लेन में उड़ा हकरी मामा भी इम पाइन के मरे में बुलांदा सी मामा आइसक्रीमु. Don't worry. It's fine. Anyway, in jo chokro mamadi in saate sagai the hai. Salawat. तो like तू नती बुझे वाला क्या क्या?
खबर नहीं तो केंजी लंका जी चोटी मते पहुंची हुई.
Khoja, are you Khoja for real?
What do you mean? Am I Khoja? तुम मुझे बोली थी क्या हूँ Khoja यहाँ के ना?
Well, you should know these people.
Okay, hang on. अगर तू खोजा करे थी, तू तो चाय नती पियो, काली चाय पिए थी, पोते नती पियो, वड़ा वचे, ओ खोजा है, पोते चाय नती पिए.
हाँ तो वांदो ना, हम चाय नती पिया तो करो. अंडर संडे वाजिब जते महामरी ने मंडाजी खाएं थी.
महामरी
ने बराजी, sorry.
महामरी? You mean mandazi?
What?
मगज फिरी हुए तो जो, खबर नहीं क्यों दुनिया में रहती.
ना, महामरी वे. मंडाजी ना वे महामरी वे
ना मुझे लगे तो जो कि मिस्टेक थे भी आंख के कोई लगे तो महामरी के मंडाजी थेपला ये तो किबियो निकलियो. Okay, hang on. I think better कि भाई ही किट बंद कर जाए and for once and for all let's settle this debate. So to settle this debate, Babu Laindas, Pancha Dadi Maz ने दादा वापस के team Mahamri, the ladies, please आगे आओ. Masum Auntie Murad, Hamida Auntie Hussain, Jenny Auntie Damani, Fatma Auntie Fazal. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
I look at you guys are team Mahamri, okay? You're my side, pa Mahamri win karda se hi quiz, inshallah. And on that note, let's call upon team Mandazi. And these are the gents. Dr. Anwar Danji, Muallim Makbul Rahim, Shabir Uncle Qasim, and by high request, Brother Ghulam Hussain Sumar. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
You have to prove me right. Okay, hiya, Bismillah. Please, Mare, dua karo ke panjo PowerPoint come kare, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, there should be some sound. Avi, I'll go wait. Now wait, so don't worry. First and foremost, we'll introduce the categories. Allama Haji Naji, Jenjo commemoration japa karta, bachi khawanu, and I don't think we need translation into us there, given that we're Khoja and all. Kahavat, to do with proverbs and idioms. Ihtihas, history. I bet you guys didn't know that, did you? Netwende Africa, and that means That's good, thank you. Specifically, we've chosen Africa because a lot of our roots go back to Africa, and Africa is the mother of the federations. Before WF, it was Africa Federation that started this whole family. So, to get us started, I will just remind the players with the rules. So we have 5 categories. We've just introduced the categories. Within those, you have some options to choose which questions you want to go for. So, for example, if you want to play one of the categories, you can pick any one you want. You can say, for example, I want to go for 20 Africa, $600. Yes, £600. It doesn't matter currency. Okay? Shillings pan bonna, shillings pan boli shagota. Okay? Then we'll click on that tile. The question will come up. You will have exactly 30 seconds. And Brother Kazim is going to be timing that for us. As soon as that goes off, you have to have your answer ready. If you get it right, you get your 600. If you get it wrong, it'll go to the other team, and they get the opportunity to reply. Pun, immediately. But si time khandai loka to anju marks wenda. So if you don't answer, then it's gone. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah?
You'll be fine, don't worry.
I've heard कि लोग का बहुत है research करने आए हो. Trust me, it's not. It'll be fun, inshallah. Let's enjoy it. Okay.
Before we actually start, the game is called Jeopardy. Although we're not following the rules to the T, where the questions get harder, which each currency increases, it's all random. So there is no strategy or skill behind choosing a particular currency in relation to the question. The second thing I wanted to just draw to your attention, because of this whole Jeopardy, there was a slight error in the PowerPoint. You will notice that there's 25 questions, but obviously we're 2 teams and we need to ensure both teams get the right amount of turns. So there is a 26th question. It doesn't come up here, but that's fine. You don't need to worry about that. This 26th question is part of the Allama Haji Naji category, and it's a $600 currency question. So, gee, sorry. Yes, that would probably be very helpful, right? Yes, Yes, of course. If we can just get some boys to help us move the chairs around, please. Thank you.
Should we keep it a little bit angled so we're not fully facing away from the audience? Okay, fine.
The ladies are in full competitive spirit. They've made themselves a little circle.
Yeah, no, good shout. Thank you. A good suggestion.
Thank you. So just to clarify, there is a 26th question under Allama Haji Naji for $600. So we'll keep reminding you of that so you don't forget that there is another question there. This way, both teams will get equal turns and participation. Are we good to start off? Yes? Ladies first? Okay. We can go with ladies first.
You don't get extra points for saying that.
So you can choose your category and your currency. Whilst they're just thinking of that, we have a few questions for the audience. So you guys need to also pay attention, because any time we'll be throwing a question to you, and we're hoping that you will all reciprocate appropriately, inshallah.
Are you ready? Daniel?
Yeah, we are ready.
Okay.
We have chosen the Haji Naji one. 400, please.
400. Here goes. Bismillah. How many books, to the closest 100, did Allama Haji Naji publish?
350.
You have 30.
350.
350.
To the closest 100.
To the
Yeah?
closest 100. So is that 400? Okay.
Look at that! That's amazing. Clearly, people were listening. Also, Kazim, where is he? He said a lot of the content early on. So if you guys were paying attention, you should have all the answers, inshallah. I didn't know whether to be thankful or angry at him, because I was like, your content, my content.
but maybe it'll help you, inshallah. Okay, great. So, ladies, please add 400, yeah?
So Kazim is our Muki. He's our timekeeper and our scorekeeper.
Amazing.
Mahamri?
I mean,
Mandazi.
Sorry.
So, gents, are you ready to choose your category? 600. Okay. What was Allama Haji Naji's given name?
To that effect. Okay, so that's your final answer?
Ghulam Ali Haji Ismail is absolutely correct. So 600 in your pot. We're going well so far. Ladies, are you ready with your next category and currency selection?
1,000 early Allama Haji Naji.
Okay. Oh, the questions are selling out. Hi, are you ready? 1,000 for Allama Haji Naji. What did Allama say upon the loss of several manuscripts and 50k rupees due to a fire incident? Kazim?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. He said that every 40 days a mu'min is tested.
Okay, are we ready to find out the answer? After every 40 days, a mu'min is indeed tested. Good job, awesome. So that's 1,000 for the Mahamris.
That's okay.
Can we have like 1 minute of
To just
chatting amongst
re-clarify,
yourselves?
I will move on to questions with the audience. Which dish is commonly served as a starchy side with sukuma wiki in Kenya? It's okay. You can hold your answers for now. This is for our beloved audience. I'll repeat the question. Which dish is commonly served as a starchy side with sukuma wiki in Kenya? Ugali. Ugali. Yes, ugali is absolutely correct. Ugali is made from maize flour and water, forming a dense dough-like consistency, and then it's normally dipped into the sukuma wiki, which is spinach curry, and held with the hand. How about we go for a really easy one now? Where is Allama Haji Naji buried? Yes, Anka. Ji? Bhavnagar. Bhavnagar is absolutely correct. Thank you. Looks like the audience have also been paying attention. Alhamdulillah. Does anyone want to listen to me talk more in Kachi? I think we are now ready.
Excuse me, point of order.
Gee, this is not a WF meter. Our phones allowed, unfortunately not. I'm sure we trust everyone to ensure that there isn't any cheating going on. Okay. So the next question is your choice.
800 Haji Naji.
Okay.
What is the famous book of du'as compiled by Allama Haji Naji in Gujarati script called?
Majmu'.
Oh, didn't even take a second. Let's have a look. Majmu' indeed. So that's 800 for the gents. Thank you.
So this is a very interesting situation, because what happened is that the people of the time were not familiar with the Arabic language. So obviously there was a issue with recitation of Quran. And Allama Haji Naji was faced with stiff opposition for even suggesting that the Quran be transliterated into Gujarati script. But what he did to overcome this opposition was to invite members of the business community to his house and tell them to bring his business ledgers, their business ledgers with them. And then he told them to open it to the first page. And most of them, if not all of them, had Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim written in Gujarati script. So he said that agar tam loka Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim Gujarati ma likhi શકો છો પછી પૂરો Quran કેમ નથી લખી શકો છો? And that's how the Quran was then transliterated into Gujarati script, and as well as a whole compilation of du'as, which is very commonly known as majmu'ah. I remember my grandmother, my daddy ma, telling me in Ramadan, "Okay, majmu'ah did, please." And this has just remained in my head. And little did I know, until very recently in the last 10-ish years, that the majmu'ah actually came from Allama Haji Najib. It came from, as in compiled by him. So, ladies, have you chosen your next category?
Yes, we have. We are going to go for Kavanu with $1,000, please.
Okay. Flour, potato, and spice. I take a fry. Crispy and golden. Who am I?
Bateta vada.
Okay, let's see. Pakora. Is it bateta vada? Is pakora bateta vada? Yeah.
Pakora has vegetables.
Yes.
Not only potato, but they said only batata. That's why it's batata vada, not pakora.
Can I have someone who is in the coloring arts to please clarify this for me? Ji, uncle, you have something to say?
Can you Google it? Ji. Vegetables હોય. આ ખાલી બટેટા હતું.
Khali batata. So you think batata vada che?
Yeah.
Should we give them the batata vada?
Yeah. No, the answer is wrong because pakora has vegetables in it. That's why we didn't say that.
So,
Can be from any vegetable.
okay. No.
No. Why?
Okay, sorry.
No, you guys were still going with pakora. We said no.
I physically can't.
It will break them. It's crispy batata, flour, and spice. The batata vada. They said right, batata vada. They said batata vada. Yes.
You guys were saying no pakora.
Yes, yeah. So this is our mistake. We take it on us. Pakora is not the correct answer. Batata vada is the correct answer. So we'll give them that cousin, please.
Why would we split ours?
Sorry, may we continue if that's okay?
You
no,
did
no,
not.
no. We apologize for the distress it's
You
caused.
did not refute at that time. We refuted that. That's a wrong one.
Shukran. Thank you so much. At this junction, I'd like to remind everybody that there is still one more 600 Allama Haji Naji question if anyone wants to avail that at any point.
600, 200.
600. No. You remember I said there's a 26 question. You'll take the 600? Okay.
We don't have this in the PowerPoint, but we will.
We'll do it verbally for you if that's okay.
Oh, they're plotting.
I'm sure the people at the back are enjoying their chai, but it would be lovely to have your support back here in the room, please. Thank you very
We'll
much.
go for Kahawat 1,000.
Okay.
Kahawas for 1,000. So, Mandazi, in the Tanzanian national anthem, what is the next line after? Wabariki viongozi wake dash.
Na watoto wake.
Sorry. So unfortunately, we don't get that 1,000 Mandazi.
Can you check whether the answer is correct?
Oh no.
That's a good point, especially after the recent experience. So, may I ask, Zafar Bas, could you help out, please? Bas Maral, could you check if this is correct somehow whilst we continue on?
Yeah.
I think
it is correct? Okay, it's fine. We're good. We're good. No worries. It is correct.
She said it.
So, are we ready for our next selection?
So,
We can take
you want to go for Haji Nazi 600?
no.
800 for Kavanu, please.
Okay.
We are good at eating.
800 for Kavanu.
You're good because the answers are wrong.
Okay. I am made with bones, spicy and hot. Loved in winters, I hit the spot.
Paya.
How about this? After this round, we'll give the audience a chance to come back. Paya?
And indeed, if you've been to Stanmore Fajr Salah, you would have received your paya. So 800 for the ladies.
It looks like the audience is really, really wanting to be part of the quiz. So here's one for you all. What is the name of the traditional Moroccan dish cooked in a cone-shaped pot? Tagine is correct, yes. Tagine refers to both the dish that it's cooked in and also the dish that you're serving. Gents, are you ready for your next
Yeah,
selection?
the Haji Naji one, which was,
The
was it?
600?
800, yeah, please.
600. Okay. Yeah, so remember there's another one missing that we forgot to insert. It's a 600 one.
She did say initially.
Yes, I did say.
That's supposed to be the last question.
No, it's any time. No, it's any time. It just doesn't appear there because of PowerPoint errors. Okay, you ready? What was the highly notable takeaway from Allama's visit to Ayatollah Mazandarani when he went for ziyarah in Iraq? What did he bring back to Mumbai?
The questions and the answers of the 200 questions that were given or taken.
That is absolutely correct. He was entrusted by Ayatollah Mazandarani to carry answers to over 200 fiqh questions back to the community in Mumbai. So that is 600 for the gents. Thank you, Kazim. Ladies, are we good for
Mahamri?
Okay, we'll go for Kevat, 800, please.
800. Complete the sentence. समझने वालों को something काफी है.
इशारा काफी
आप लोग
है.
सब कौन होते हैं? We are not asking. We are just we have it right there.
That is correct. समझने वालों को इशारा काफी है. Okay.
800 for Mahamri.
Are we ready for our next selection? Should we set a time limit for selection also?
No, I think we'll go for 600 Kawanu because you seem to always get the questions, the answers wrong. So we have a chance then.
Okay.
600.
I'm a one-pot dish of dal and gosh, topped with red chutney and fried onion. Please, I can hear whispers already. No, please don't do this. Let the team work.
Dal
through the
gosh.
magic.
Dal gosh.
Maybe read it again. I've used the word dar and gosh in the question, so it's obviously not. That's not the.
But that's not right.
You have it. You have your time. Your time is going. 3 seconds. 2 seconds.
Kichiro.
Okay, let's see if that's the right answer.
It is indeed.
Kichwa is correct.
What is it? Stanmore's Arbaeen dish? Yeah? 600 for Mandazi. Thank you.
Your team.
Yeah.
Remember, we have our own debate going on here, right? Is it Mahamri or Mandazi? Thank you. We are both Kenyan.
You're both Kenyan.
Okay, we are taking food 400.
Okay. Kawanu 400. I am yellow or brown, made from tiny lentils. With rice, I taste divine.
Khichdi.
Is it time? Okay.
Okay, Bunny khichdi.
So unfortunately,
it's not the right answer.
okay.
Sorry, what did they say?
They said khichdi.
Hiya. Gents, answer straight away.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Khichdi.
Okay, answer.
Okay, we'll move on. The answer is
Dar Nusag.
yeah. So 400 points lost.
Rice with
To no, no,
You said rice.
Dar Nusag with rice?
Yeah, okay. They
No.
misunderstood that it was mixed.
Oh, no, you eat it with rice.
I thought
You
that-
thought, okay, yeah.
That's okay. That's okay.
Dar Nusag with rice is like a very, very comfort dish, isn't it? When it's raining, you have Dar Nusag and rice.
I don't think we're real Khojas.
Excuse me, can you have rice in the dar nusag?
No. So the riddle was that this dish is had with rice. So you know you eat dar nusag, you have it with rice most of the time, or you can have roti.
We accept.
Ziyarat majlis, correct? Yes. Ziyarat majlis.
Yeah, we have to look at the questions more critically.
Yes, yeah. Okay, gents, your turn, please.
Twente Africa 1000.
Okay.
We have to catch up.
Who was the illustrious and empowered female who published articles by the pen name Mahzoon and became one of the founders of Mehfil Abbas in Dar es Salaam, a center for women by women?
Kulsum, Ghulam Hussain, Mrs. Kimji, Qasim Adat. All these names. But
Shall we check it out? It is indeed Kulsum by Ghulam Hussain Adat. Someone's done their homework really well. Anke 1000 mil the full.
extra point for getting everything correct.
Awesome, thank you.
That is true. Mafat na points na male. I hope the ladies, you got your selection ready. Are we good?
Kewat for 600, please.
Finish the sentence. Utavre amba.
They shouldn't be saying that.
That is true. That is true. Audience, don't worry. Next time, next year, inshallah, sign up with Sukinati Nur Muhammad and tell them you want to take part in the quiz.
We have no objection. The ladies can be supported by the ladies. Yeah, but the men can also support the ladies.
Please, if you don't mind repeating the answer so that we know that you did answer correctly.
Okay. Utavre amba na pake.
That is correct.
That means?
Could you explain that to me, please, Auntie?
Okay. In hurry, you can't get anything quick.
Yes.
That's the essence of it.
Yes. So actually, that reminds me of something in Swahili. Does anyone know what I'm thinking of right now?
Haraka haraka hana baraka.
Correct. Haraka haraka haina baraka. That is perfect. Good. Like in haste, there is no blessing.
We will go 800, 20 Africa.
What is the name of the Tabligh organization propagating Shiism to the native communities in Africa?
Bilal Mission.
Oh, amazing. That is indeed correct. Bilal Muslim Mission. 800. Thank you.
Looks like we're on a roll now, aren't we? Alhamdulillah.
We'll go 20 Africa, 600.
20 Africa for 600? Okay. Ni mchuzi gani wa East Africa wenye krimu na nazi na unapendwa kutoka Mombasa hadi Zanzibar? No, please don't answer. Please don't. Please don't.
Please.
I'll repeat the question. Ni mchuzi gani wa East Africa wenye krimu na nazi na unapendwa kutoka Mombasa hadi Zanzibar?
Kuku paka.
Kuku wa kupaka. That is correct. As a translation, which is the East African curry that is rich with cream and coconut and loved from Mombasa to Zanzibar? And that's our very own kuku paka.
Team Mandazi.
Itias 1000.
Ooh, going for the big money.
Gambling.
Who is traced as the first Khoja martyr?
From Karachi, Lalal Alidina.
Sure, you've talked to your group? No,
Yeah.
I'm, yeah. Yeah?
Yeah,
Fine.
Lalal Alidina from Karachi.
It is indeed Lala Nalidina.
I thought you said Lalan.
Lalan Alidina is absolutely correct. And whilst we are talking about martyrs, I think it is only fitting that we take a moment right now. I know we are here to celebrate our heritage, to remember the illustrious work of Allama Haji Naji, but we should also remember that whilst we are all here today in the comfort of this WF house with the amazing biryani we just had for lunch, there are people in other parts of the world, especially Palestine, where they're facing a genocide. And it is only fitting that we take a moment right now and remember them across nations that have suffered, including our own Shia country of Iran, and take a moment to recite Al-Fatiha for all the people we've lost across the last few years. Surah Al-Mubarakat Al-Fatiha. So we have 10 questions remaining. That means 5 rounds. We're approaching the time where tensions are building. We don't know where our scoring is at. And maybe at some point, Brother Kazim can just give us a little bit of nudge and tell us where we are at so that we can, for those who want to strategize these last 5 remaining rounds, they can do so. So Kazim, after the next question, if you can give us an update, please. Thank you. Over to you.
We'll take Itias 800, please.
Which Ayatollah is credited with being the spiritual guide in the early days of conversion to Ithna Ashari?
Ayatollah Zainul Abidin Mazandari.
Yeah, and
Sorry for my pronunciation.
no, it's an amazing thing to remember, mashallah. Well done, because that is indeed correct. Ayatollah Sheikh Zainul Abidin Mazandarani.
That is absolutely correct. In fact, it was Ayatollah Sheikh Zainul Abidin Mazandarani who sent Mullah Qadir Hussain, originally of South Indian descent from Karbala, sent him back to Mumbai, and he was the teacher of Allama Haji Naji. I don't want to repeat some of the things that have already been said, but this is super important, so please bear with me here. In one of his letters from Ayatollah Sheikh Zainul Abidin Mazandarani, he says to Mullah Qadir Hussain and said, "Your speech is my speech and your respect is my respect." And that is the level of Mullah Qadir Hussain Karbalai, who became the teacher of Allama Haji Naji. And the reason why I'm saying this is that at that time there was a lot of opposition to Mullah Qadir Hussain. And so we need to remember where history stands and where the scholars stood with regards to that conflict. And we shall, before we move on, I've had an update on scores, and this is not counting the current one, this is just as of the last round. The gents are in the lead with 5,400, and the ladies are just slightly tagging behind with 5,200. So maybe in your selections, you can apply some strategy there. You think that's incorrect? You were questioning Kazim?
No, that's correct. That's correct.
If there is one honest person in this room that we cannot doubt his integrity is Kazim. So over to you.
600 Itias.
600 Ihtihas. What does the word Khoja mean? And if you were listening to the kids earlier, you would have heard that.
It came from Khoja. What does it mean? I think the question is a bit ambiguous because it means Khoja, or people who came from Khoja, but Khoja actually means, the word actually means all those people who came from Kutch, Kathiawari and
This is more
that
talking about the literally meaning. So you're like the meaning in English. Next time we have Muallim Murtaza Bandali doing the quiz, inshallah. No, that's fine. Timer is up. Time is up.
Well, I've said my answer.
So your answer, if you could just repeat for clarification for posterity.
Khoja means people who came from Khoja, the area of Kutch, Kachari, settlers. They were all settlers from that area. One of those words should be there.
I debate Sonia kena Sonia.
So that's not the meaning of Khoja. That's the context. That's where we came from.
No, but
so
we can take
that
that.
is that is
We
now
can
going
take
to the
that.
ladies' side. Yeah.
It's a Persian word meaning humble or noble people, and it's a respectful word for them.
Okay. Let's see. That is correct. Yes. So an honorable or learned
I
person.
said Khoja.
Yes, but that is so. I wanted the English meaning. Khoja is the originating root verb of Khoja, which is correct. But I did say I want the English meaning. In the not in the question, but during the discussion, I did say.
I think you need to reframe your questions a bit more precisely.
Inshallah, next time we'll take advice from you. So, yes,
Well
thank you very much.
Or maybe we did. I don't know.
Haji game paiti nathi, bhai. Bhai, haji game paiti nathi.
That is absolutely correct, Haji Game Paitinati. So if the people who are having their chai and snacks at the back can please join in front, or at the very least just maintain silence. Thank you. It is your turn. It is your turn.
We'll go for Kahawa.
Yeah.
400, please.
Okay.
Finish the sentence.
Finish the sentence. Chamcha ma pani barne. Please, I beg, please.
Dubimar.
And we have an answer. If you can just say it again, because some people didn't hear.
Chamcha ma pani bar ne dubi mar.
That's fine. Yeah. Dubi ja, dubi mar, like a same context. So chamcha ma pani
Right,
bar
guys,
and
what's the next one?
dubi ja, dubi mar. Would you like to explain the meaning?
Let's try to see what we can make now.
It's like saying, it's a shame on you.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot dive in a spoon.
Yeah.
They say, this is what your status is, that you are diving in a spoon.
Yes, yeah. So I think the Urdu equivalent would be like chullu bar ke pani mein dubi. Yeah. Okay, are we ready for our next round?
Wants to get the screen because we don't know what's up.
Yes.
20 Africa 400.
Which island town famously has the Junni and Nabi Misid?
Zanzibar.
I don't think we need to confirm because that is indeed the right answer. So that's 400 for Mandazis.
So they're 200 ahead, huh?
To get the attention back from the audience, I have a question for you all here now. Which African country is home to the Serengeti National Park? Tanzania. Tanzania is correct. The Serengeti is famous for the great migration of the wildebeest and zebras.
From Kenya.
No, they'll take it. No, they'll take it.
So we have all the 200s remaining. Interesting how they haven't gone for the smaller numbers.
We'll take 400 Itias.
Okay.
Your questions are easy, that's why.
Which is the largest Khoja Jamaat in current times?
In the world.
In the world. In the world, largest Khoja Jamaat currently across the world.
Trying to.
Can I clarify, when you are saying Khoja Jamaat, so the Jamaat should have Khoja in it? Because we have learned recently that some Jamaats don't have
Answer the question. Answer the
That
question.
is a very, sorry, we'll pause the timer because that is a very good question. You are correct in seeking clarification. No, it does not need to have Khoja in the title, but it should fall under one of the federations, if that helps.
Okay,
So can we give them 15 seconds? Thank you. How many seconds left? We have 5 seconds left. Ji.
Dar es Salaam.
Dar es Salaam?
I'm against.
We'll take the
Okay.
We'll take the question.
You will take the question?
Yeah.
Well, Dar es Salaam is unfortunately incorrect. Sorry about that.
Karachi.
Karachi is no, that's fine. The Karachi Pirai Khoja Shia, the Karachi Pirai Shia Itnashri Jamaat is the largest Khoja Jamaat.
Which one do you want?
400 for Mandazi.
So we have 5 questions remaining, all of 200 of all the 5 categories. And we'll ask the ladies to now knock off, sorry, the gents to now start knocking off the 200s. Yes, Anka.
Pirai Jamaat.
Pirai Jamaat, the Pirai Jamaat. That is correct. Khoja is saying we should retire. Inshallah, next year we will retire. I'm loving the fact that you're all very keen and enthusiastic about the quiz. But I will request you to please give us some leeway in this round, if that's okay.
Well, Karachi. It has to be given another question then, because if that's the wrong answer.
It's the same as when they say Dubi Maro or Dubi Na.
Yes, that is correct. Yes, that's a very good point.
Okay, can I?
It's our turn now.
Yeah, so we go for Allama Haji Naji 200.
Okay, thank you.
What was the famous publication established by Allama Haji Naji?
Rahe Najat.
That is indeed the correct answer. 200 for the gents.
Where are we at, ladies?
Kawano 200.
Okay.
Well.
I am round and flat, made from flour and come out of the pan hot. I am your daily companion at meals. And please don't give us details.
Chapatis, rotis.
That's right, 200 for the ladies. Moving on.
Okay, shall we go for 20? 20 Africa 200.
In which vessels did the Khoja merchants arrive in Africa from India?
Dhows. Sailing dhows.
That is correct. Thank you very much.
200 for the gents.
And the ladies?
Kevat.
Kevat for 200. Finish the sentence. Tabia Haina. That is unfortunately not the correct answer.
Dawa.
That is the correct answer. Tabia Haina Dawa, that means habit has no cure.
The last one. We won, and we got the last one.
And now, gents,
Dawa.
it's your turn. Well, actually, this is the last
Yeah.
round.
We take that. We
Yes.
take that, and you can answer them. It's an easy one.
How very gracious.
What legacy did Marhum Mullah Asghar Jafar leave behind? And just a clarification point, this is the biggest legacy. He has many legacies that he's left behind, but one notable, significant...
World Federation.
Yeah? Okay, let's find out. Uniting Khoja communities worldwide by spearheading the formation of WF, indeed, World Federation. Ahsan, so that's 200 to the gents.
Salu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. No, later. That brings us to the end of the round. But it's not the end of the day, because we have the most exciting part of the day now. Like I said earlier, and all of you have been very much amazed, I hope, with the amazing stuff that the young people have shown up here today. And I think we should all take away that respect, decorum, and debating skills that they showed, inshallah, to incorporate within our meetings at WF and Khoj and Jamaat level. But prior to that, I would like to thank our lovely participants here who have, I know you're warning about the score, right? Don't worry. We'll get to the score. I want to thank our beloved seniors who have been amazing with their keenness, enthusiasm throughout the whole preparation of this program. They have been extremely generous with their time and their energy, for which we are eternally grateful. And the fact that you have been amazing sports and you've given us the room to just do this, and you've allowed for our mishaps also. So thank you very much for being here today, for being such amazing sports. We will announce the scores shortly, but before we come to the quiz scores, let's just have a little talk about the debate scores. So at this juncture, I'd like to invite, thank you very much. Thank you. Shukran. Thank you. We will find out, did Team Mahamri or Team Mahamri Mandazi take the trophy. In the meantime, I would invite our honorable judges to please come and share their views of what went on today. Wherever you're comfortable. Should I bring the mic over to you? You've got one. Okay, perfect.
Okay, so Assalamu alaikum. We are going to start with feedback for two individuals from each of us, which will be detailed, and then Memuda Auntie will announce the final winning team. From my perspective, first of all, the only right I have to sit in front of you is because I'm probably 30 years older than you. You all did a phenomenal job, and I wish 30 years ago I could have sat in that seat, because you're well ahead of where I would have been. So I want you to know that before I give you some feedback. I'm going to start with Hussein. Hussein, I really liked the way you linked the facts to history, and I liked how you explained and connected the dots within what you were speaking about. So that was very, very well done. There were lots of statements that you went on to then make that didn't have any data behind it, and I think when you are in a debate, having a reference point or understanding why you have a perspective matters. I loved your focus on belief and how important that was. And your evangelism and motivation really wanted me to believe in your journey. Your rebuttal, again, used a strong use of facts, but there were inconsistencies into kind of like where Khoja went and to the progress. I don't think you did that as well as you could have. Overall, from how you communicated, I think there weren't enough, it was more like you were speaking from a script than you had thought about the debate in itself. So just areas to work on, but overall I think you did a fantastic job. Okay. Mehdi, your rebuttal, which I'll start with because that's what you did first, I think you had pre-prepared that. So it's worth listening to what they say to reference back, as opposed to coming out and just saying, this is what I think of the statement they're going to make. Your references to Quran and its impact were fantastic. Lots of context, but it was based on history, not today's society, from the point that you were trying to make. I think you're a great storyteller, but again, it borders on speech. So maybe think to not speak so fast and use pause for effect. But overall, a fantastic job.
Yes, and I must say, before I begin, that the speakers were not given a choice of where they would like to be, in which team. So I should particularly say to the proposing team that excellent for you to even agree to be on this motion, because I can agree that it's quite a challenging topic overall, but for y'all to even having done that and done such a great job has to be commended. So well done. I would also like to just say something before I go on to my two speakers. and that is the title, Khoja Identity is Irrelevant Today, is clearly a very provocative and potentially polarizing statement that really requires deep exploration, right? Both teams performed admirably and offered compelling arguments as on a nuanced and sensitive topic. I mean, that was something amazing for both the teams. I mean, you really demonstrated a commendable understanding of the complexities surrounding the whole thing on identity, culture. So when I say that, I mean heritage, and towards modern Muslim realities. Now, this is quite something, and you understood that. The topic required historical context with present-day relevance, and both teams tackled this with this challenge with maturity, I would say critical thinking, and passion, some of you more than others. I would like to go on to Miriam. Miriam, you delivered a compelling summary and offered a strong rebuttal that challenged the assumptions of the opposition. I also noticed that, and let me check where I've written that. Here it is. That you had a strong philosophical framing, and the argument would have benefited further from deeper engagement with the emotional and historical weight of the Khoja identity in real community contexts. Your rebuttal was well structured, but would have done better fully dismantling the opposition's narrative. Overall, clear delivery, logical, great. Then I will move on to Ruqayya. Ruqayya, your arguments were heartfelt and rooted in lived experience. You occasionally lacked clarity in linking those points directly to the motion phrasing, specifically the word irrelevant. A stronger framing round the distinction between irrelevant versus evolving would have strengthened the clash. I have another point to mention, Ruqayya, because you actually particularly stood out for weaving in examples from communal institutions, language Gujarati that you said, or was it Kutchi, one or the other, and lived experiences of young Khoja. Your framing of identity as layered, where being Khoja, Muslim, and global citizen can coexist, was powerful and persuasive. So well done.
I just wanted to say that the three of us sitting here are a totally different generation to you. So our perspective on what Khoja means and whether it's relevant and irrelevant will be completely different. So thank you, firstly, for giving us a window into your world. I commend all of you who had to sit on the proposition. Tough, because you're sitting here today, but you've all 8 of you did a brilliant job. I'm going to start with Muhammad Abbas. I wanted to say to be confident is my first thing. In your language and your opinion, you had some really great things to say, but you didn't always back yourself through them, yeah? You made some clear and very fantastic points, and these could have been explained and developed a little bit further, and you could have maybe backed them up with some facts. So remember, back yourself, because when you did, you were great. You made a really good attempt at a clear structure, and some of your examples, like I said before, could have been developed a bit more clearly. But if there's one thing I'd really like you to take away from any feedback that I've given you today, it would be to back yourself with your opinions, because they are really valuable. Yeah? Shakir? Yeah. Habs boy debating, that came out. You had really good emotive storytelling with simple and accessible stories. Yeah. If I look for some feedback, you could have potentially been a bit more succinct, because you did run out of time, and that would have affected your score a little bit. Yeah. Your arguments were relevant to the topic and also to the audience, and they were very well developed and explained. Your rebuttal was strong. You got to the point, you linked it to facts, and it was clear. However, you recycled that example from somewhere else. So maybe, you know, a little bit of variety when it came to examples would have been appreciated. So my key takeaway for you is, if you're a little bit more succinct, you'll be able to cover all of your points in time. Yeah?
Thank you. Ayla, assalamu alaikum. Your rebuttal started off really strong. You took 3 points and you destroyed them with examples. You did really, really well with your rebuttal. And I think your lived experiences and the context you gave in how you addressed the point you were trying to make was fantastic. However, I think you over-rotated and spent too much time talking about language and the impact of that. And that was one part of something that can be multi-layered and multifaceted. You could have gone deeper and wider in the time you had. Again, like the others, you didn't provide any sources. So a couple of times you used some very, very loose comments, such as, it's disappearing, it's gone. But why is that happening? Where does that sentiment come from? And where have you derived that from to be able to give it some foundation? The way you communicate is exceptional. You use good tone, pitch, you looked at the audience, you were giving them eye contact, great clarity. Again, not enough pause for effect. So just slow down, start to understand what the pauses are. So you give people time to think, factor in their emotion. But overall, really, really well done.
Last but not least, Sophia. Your rebuttal, I'm going to start with that, consisted of an excellent point about the way things were taught. And that landed with me very, very well. You made that very concisely, so you could have gone on to make some more points. And I know that you were probably furiously trying to think of something at that point, but it was very well linked. Your communication was very clear. There were some fantastic emotional points, and you had started on your storytelling and linking that to facts, but you could have developed that a little bit further throughout the course of your argument. Your focus on identity was really well received by me. Some of it could have been a bit generic from your, you were probably trying to find something from a fact base that could have been a bit generic. My key takeaway for you is, remember what is subjective and what is objective in your argument as well, and make sure that you label those clearly and you develop those out more clearly. Yeah?
So finally, we have chosen a winner, but to tell you that there isn't too many points between you all. We have gone the winner to be the opposing team, as in Khoja identity is relevant today. Well done. And well done to both the teams. I will give you a little feedback on why we made this decision. So just a quick one for the proposition team. You built a thoughtful argument around the evolving nature of identity in a globalized and digital world. I'll include that. The case was centered on the idea that Islam and shared human values should take precedence over ethnic or cultural identity like Khoja, particularly for younger generations. Now, the opposing feedback made a compelling case for the continuing relevance of the Khoja identity And this is actually very good because not as a replacement for religious or universal identity, but as a complement that offers community cohesion, historical continuity, and cultural richness. That came through powerfully well, and well done for that. Now, winner. Let me finally say, the winning team was taken up for delivering a well-balanced, culturally grounded, and emotionally resonant case that directly challenged the motion and offered a persuasive alternative perspective on the relevance of Khoja identity in today's world. So well done.
Can I please call upon the opposing team and Mahmoud and Qadala to present a prize to the debate's winners. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Well done. Congratulations. Thank you. Well done, guys.
And now can I please call upon someone who has been doing probably the most for this event behind the scenes. Me as someone in the group, you know, just of the logistics of the day. Maybe you'll get 100 messages an hour for this event. And you can say that 95 of those were from Auntie Sue, who was working tirelessly behind the scenes, sorting from A to Z and keeping an eye on everything. She got on to me a few times. We were trying to call each other for so many days, and then, you know, she was very, very worried and stressed about this event going well. So please can I call upon her to give the rest of the thank you. The salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's an honor to be asked to give this closing speech for our fourth Khoja Heritage Day. For those who don't know me, I'm Sukaina Noor Mohammed, and I am lucky enough to be appointed a World Federation Counselor, as well as Assistant Secretary General and a Vice Chair Lady of the KSIMC of London, Hujjat. Today's program has been a beautiful example of everything the Khoja community does best, engaging in intellectual debate, honoring the religious legacy passed on by our ancestors, and coming together to celebrate our rich heritage. Without the pioneering work of Allama Haji Naji, there is no doubt our community would not be as steadfast in our faith. It is up to each and every one of us to continue the honor his legacy, so let us all remember him again with Suratul Fatiha. As ever, today's event would not have been possible without the tireless work of our dedicated volunteers. In particularly, I would like to thank Kazim Ismail, our brilliant MC, Muallim Murtaza Uncle Bandali for his beautiful Quran recitation, Al-Haj Safdar by Jafar, our World Federation President, for his insightful speech, Dr. Hasnain Baiwalji for his thoughtful words, all our youth who took part in this debate. The excellent judges for the debate. The rising star of our Khoja community, Ali Gokal, he had to leave. He had another prior appointment at Hujjat Stanmore. Ali Jawad Bhai Hansraj for his excellent contribution. All those who took part in the quiz. Ruqayya Datu Nanjiani and Khudaija Datu Jafar, including the AV team. I have got no words. I'm speechless. Thank you very much for all your help. All the volunteers who have dedicated so much of their time to make today possible. And of course, to you all for being here. Thank you. I would also like to give a special thanks to Mahmoud Baidala, the head of WF Ed, my mentor, and Ali Jawad Bhai Hansraj, the Secretary General of the World Federation, for all of their support with my journey as a WF counselor to date. And I would request you all to give the two gentlemen a very loud salawat for all the support they've given to me and they will continue giving to me. On behalf of everyone at the World Federation, thank you so much for joining us today. And inshallah, we will have many more opportunities to honor the pioneers in our community and celebrate our successes for many more years to come. Jazakallah, thank you for hearing me. Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Hassan, thank you so much for that beautiful speech. Now to end, the final item on the agenda is the results of the quiz. So before I call upon the electric duo who will tell us who won, sometimes when we were watching that quiz, we didn't know whether we were watching Prime Minister's questions or we were watching Khoja Heritage Day quiz. So mashallah, it was very, very intense debate and quiz. Please can I call upon the electric duo once again with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. With the electric solo act.
I seem to have lost my partner, but I think she's on babysitting duties with my little one. I am extremely honored to be able to announce this, but prior to the announcement, please allow me a couple of minutes. I have a huge, huge apology to make to both teams, both sets of participants. I had a complaint that came in actually, and one of our beloved uncles showed Khudaija reams and reams of paper of the notes that they had made from the resources that we'd sent to them, of the notes that they had made from the videos and the articles, handwritten, highlighting, and just ready for an exam situation. And it turns out that we were too generous with them. Our questions were just too easy for all the hard work that they had put in. So, mane maaf karjo. Next time we'll up the fire and make sure that we give harder questions so that all the hard work that you've put in is worth it. So do forgive us. We are very, very grateful, and we are very, very inspired by the sheer level of enthusiasm and effort that you've all put in. So we've done a lot of salawats, but there is never enough of salawats. So let's all, with the loudest of our voices, join our community together with salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Right. I'm very nervous, and I'm not very nervous usually. I am a little bit scared of how this will be taken, but I am here to just share. I'm just the messenger. Kazim was the one who did the points. So if you have any issues, please approach him. Like I said, I'm just the messenger. Right, so we had our ladies scoring $7,200 in their point. Salu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. صل على محمد وآل محمد. And our gents scoring $7,000 in their pot. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. صل على محمد وآل محمد. So I think it's pretty obvious that the ladies do take away the day today, but just by a very, very small margin, which I hope the gents will be gracious enough to allow, inshallah. So on that note, may I call our lovely, lovely aunties, and may I also call upon Azrabai Nanjiani to do the honors in presenting the little token of appreciation that we have. We have lost our participants. Oh, they're here. Yes, please. If the four of you can please come forward, I'll be really, really grateful. So, Masma auntie, Hamida auntie, Jenny auntie, and Fatma auntie, please. Salu ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Another loud salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. At this juncture, I will close the quiz round officially. We have done our duty, and once again, we request for forgiveness on our part, and we are very delighted that our Mahamri team has taken the trophy. So actually, Khoja's not here, but I win. And Kazim, over to you. Thank you, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
One last huge thank you to the great-granddaughter of Allama Haji Naji, Azrabai, who has blessed us with some very, very beautiful words earlier today. Inshallah, we'll end the program now with Dua Wahda, followed by Ziyarat. So please, if you can join me in reciting Dua Wahda. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد لا إله إلا الله إلها واحدا ونحن له مسلمون لا إله إلا الله ولا نعبد إلا إياه مخلصين له الدين ولو كره المشركون لا إله إلا الله ربنا ورب آبائنا الأولين لا إله إلا الله وحده أنجز وعده ونصر عبده وعز جنده وهزم الأحزاب وحده فله الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت ويحيي وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير اللهم صل على. And to conclude the program, Mu'mineen, please join me in reciting Ziyarah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليك يا رسول الله يا حبيب الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين وسيد الوسيين السلام عليك مولاتي فاطمة الزهرة السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى 9 المعصومين من ذريتك علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي السلام عليك يا مولاي يا صاحب الزمان يا حجة ابن الحسن عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك والسلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.